The HOA president called my disabled daughter a burden. She said Emma deserved death. She tried to destroy us. But Karen didn't know my secret. I wasn't just a single father. I was the chief minister. And I was about to show her what real power looks like. Justice was coming. Before you watch full story, comment below from which country are you watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more amazing stories. The courthouse felt smaller than it should have. Perhaps it was the weight of injustice pressing down on every surface, or maybe it was the way Karen Mitchell's voice filled every corner with venom. This creature doesn't belong in our community. I sat in the back row, my hands folded in my lap, watching my daughter Emma flinch at the word. She was 16, her wheelchair positioned beside me, her fingers trembling as they gripped the armrest. The cerebral palsy that had shaped her life since birth had never defined her, not to me, not to anyone who truly knew her. But to Karen Mitchell, president of the Willowbrook Heights Homeowners Association, my daughter was nothing more than an inconvenience. The morning had started like any other difficult day. Emma had woken up crying, knowing we had to come to court. She had asked me through her communication device, "Daddy, why do they hate me?" I had no answer. How do you explain cruelty to a child who has never done anything wrong? We had moved to Willowbrook Heights 8 months ago, after my wife Sarah passed away from cancer. Emma and I needed a fresh start, somewhere quiet where we could heal together. I had used my mother's maiden name, Harrison, instead of my official name. I wore simple clothes, drove an old car, and kept my identity as chief minister hidden. After years in the spotlight, I wanted to be just a father. The neighborhood had seemed perfect at first. Tree-lined streets, friendly faces, a beautiful community garden where Emma wanted to plant sunflowers. Her mother had loved sunflowers. Emma thought that growing them might help us both remember the good times. But then we met Karen Mitchell. The first incident happened 3 weeks after we moved in. Emma was in the community garden, her wheelchair parked on the path, her hands dirty from planting seeds. She was humming, a sound she made when she was happy. The sun was warm on her face, and for the first time since we'd lost Sarah, I saw genuine joy in my daughter's eyes. She was carefully placing each sunflower seed into the soil, whispering to them like her mother used to do. Sarah always believed that plants grew better when you talked to them with love. Karen had appeared like a storm cloud, blocking the sunlight. "What is that noise?" she demanded, her voice sharp and cutting. "And who gave you permission to use this garden? I don't recall seeing an application from you." Emma looked up, confused and startled. The joy drained from her face instantly. She tried to speak, wanting to explain, but her words came out slurred and difficult. I'm planting flowers for my mama." "I can't understand you," Karen snapped, making no effort to listen more carefully. "This garden is for residents who can maintain it properly. Not for people who make it look like a medical facility. Your wheelchair is blocking the path, and frankly, you're disturbing the peace with those sounds you're making." I arrived just in time to see Emma's face crumble. "Ms. Mitchell," I said calmly, "my daughter has every right to use this garden." "Are you?" Karen's eyes narrowed. "I don't remember approving your application." I certainly would have remembered if someone disclosed they had a disabled child. "We don't need to disclose my daughter's medical condition," I replied. "That's private and protected by law." "Well, maybe it shouldn't be," Karen retorted. "People have a right to know what they're living next to." What they're living next to. As if Emma was a thing, not a person. That was the beginning. Karen made it her mission to make our lives difficult. She filed complaints about the wheelchair ramp, the medical van, everything. She sent letters to every resident, warning them about the dangers of having someone with disabilities in their community. "Property values will drop," she wrote. "Is that what you want?" Some neighbors ignored her. But too many stayed silent. And silence, I learned, could be just as cruel as Karen's words. I watched people cross the street to avoid us. I saw curtains close when Emma wheeled past windows. I heard whispers at the mailbox that stopped the moment I approached. Emma tried to be brave. She continued going to the garden, continued trying to make friends with the neighborhood children. But children can be cruel when they learn cruelty from adults. They started avoiding her, pointing at her when they thought I wasn't looking, mimicking her movements and sounds behind her back. One boy, whose mother was Karen's closest friend and ally, had walked right up to Emma and called her a freak to her face. He'd laughed when she started crying, then ran away before I could reach them. One night, Emma cried for hours in her room. I sat beside her bed, holding her hand, feeling completely helpless. "Daddy," she signed to me with shaking hands, "am I a freak? Am I wrong for being alive? Would you and Mama have been happier if I was never born?" My heart shattered. "No, baby girl. You are perfect. Those people are wrong, not you." But words weren't enough. Karen filed noise complaints, tried to ban us from the pool, even called child services claiming I was neglecting Emma. The investigation was humiliating. When the social worker saw how well cared for Emma was, she apologized with tears. "I'm so sorry. This complaint was malicious. Your daughter is thriving." But the damage was done. Emma became afraid every time someone knocked on the door. That was when I contacted my lawyer. Karen was suing us, claiming we violated 17 HOA covenants. She wanted us removed. She wanted Emma gone. And so we ended up here, in this courthouse. "Mr. Harrison," the judge said, "you've heard the complaint. How do you respond?" Before I could speak, Karen stood up. "Your Honor, this is about maintaining standards. We have rules for a reason. And my daughter prevents that?" I asked quietly. Karen turned to me. "Yes. Frankly, yes. Do you know what it's like trying to enjoy my morning coffee while those sounds come from your house? The medical alarms, the therapy sessions, her crying. She cries because of you," I said, my voice still calm but my hands clenched into fists under the table. "She cries because you've made her feel unwelcome in her own neighborhood. She cries because you've taught everyone around us that she's less than human. My daughter wakes up every morning wondering if today will be the day someone finally succeeds in making us leave. She's 16 years old and she's developed anxiety because of your harassment." "I never said that," Karen protested, but her voice lacked conviction. "You didn't have to say it directly," I replied, my voice growing stronger. "You've said it in every action, every complaint, every hateful letter you've sent. You've said it by treating my daughter like a problem to be solved rather than a person to be respected. You've said it by looking at her with disgust instead of compassion. You've said it by refusing to even try to understand her or see her humanity." Karen's face flushed with anger. "You people always play the victim card. You move into our community, disrupt our peace, and then accuse us of discrimination. You people." I repeated slowly. She waved her hand dismissively. "People with disabilities. They expect the world to bend over backward. They expect special treatment. The real world has laws," I said, standing. "Laws that protect people like my daughter." "Sit down, Mr. Harrison," Karen said with a smirk. "You're just a single father with no resources. You can't fight the HOA. Do you really have the support of the entire community?" I asked. "Or just people too afraid to stand up to you?" "Your Honor," Karen's lawyer interrupted, "can we focus on the legal issues?" The judge frowned. "Actually, I'd like to hear what Mr. Harrison has to say." I looked at Emma. She was watching me with wide eyes, hope and fear mixed together. "Your Honor," I said, "my daughter is 16 years old. She was born with cerebral palsy. But it doesn't affect her intelligence, her kindness, or her humanity. She's an honor student. She writes letters to soldiers overseas, over 300 in the past year. She's learned 4 languages. She volunteers online, tutoring younger children. I pulled out a folder. After my wife died, Emma was devastated. Sarah was everything to us. Cancer took her slowly, painfully. We moved here to heal. Emma wanted to plant sunflowers because those were her mother's favorites. She thought watching them grow might help us grieve. That's all she wanted. That's touching, Karen said coldly, but it doesn't change the covenants. I pulled out documents. Let's address those covenants. Clause 3, no exterior modifications without approval. We installed a wheelchair ramp. Under the ADA and our state's Disability Rights Protection Act, reasonable accommodations must be allowed. Clause 7, no excessive noise. I have decibel readings showing Emma's equipment produces less noise than a standard air conditioner. Your own air conditioner, Ms. Mitchell, produces more noise. Karen's face reddened. Clause 12, community spaces must be used appropriately. You claim Emma's use is inappropriate. On what grounds? Because she uses a wheelchair. Because she exists. Every single complaint is rooted in discrimination, I said firmly. And that is illegal. The courtroom was silent. Emma was crying, but they were different tears. Tears of pride. Then Karen stood up and said the words that changed everything. Your Honor, let me be clear. She pointed at Emma. That girl is a burden. Not just to this community, but to society. People like her drain resources. They can't contribute meaningfully. Frankly, if I had my way, the death penalty wouldn't be too extreme for those who drag down our quality of life. The courtroom gasped. Emma made a broken sob. I felt something inside me snap. The death penalty, I repeated slowly. You believe my daughter deserves the death penalty because she has cerebral palsy. I believe we need honest conversations about quality of life. About making difficult decisions for the greater good. I see, I said. I removed my baseball cap. Several people gasped, recognizing me. Ms. Mitchell, do you know who I am? She glanced dismissively. You're nobody. I'm Chief Minister David Harrison. The color drained from Karen's face. That's not possible, she stammered. You're just a father, I finished. A father who wanted to give his daughter a normal life. A father who used his mother's maiden name to avoid recognition. Because I wanted people to see Emma for who she is. My chief aide, Michael Santos, entered the courtroom with staff members. Michael carried a thick folder. Your Honor, Michael said, I'm Michael Santos, chief aide to Chief Minister Harrison. We have relevant information. He opened the folder. Ms. Mitchell, we've investigated you. In 2 years, you filed 43 complaints. 38 targeted families with members who have disabilities or chronic illnesses. That's not true, Karen protested weakly. It's documented, Michael continued. The Reeves family, their son has autism. You tried banning him from the playground. The Johnsons, the husband is a veteran with PTSD and a service dog. You fought to have the dog removed. The Martinez family, their daughter uses a hearing aid. You complained about their television volume. The Chens, the grandfather uses a walker. You tried fining them for blocking the sidewalk. Karen's lawyer was packing his briefcase. I'm withdrawing from this case. You can't. Karen shrieked. Not enough money to destroy my reputation, he said coldly. Then he left. Michael pulled out emails. This is from you to another board member. These people with their wheelchairs think they can just move in and ruin everything. We need to make them so uncomfortable they leave. If we can't ban them, we'll make their lives hell. The judge's face darkened. Is this accurate, Ms. Mitchell? Karen said nothing, her hands shaking. Your Honor, I said, my daughter wanted to plant flowers in memory of her mother. She wanted to make friends. She wanted to feel normal. Instead, she was harassed and told she deserves death. I looked at Emma. Sweetheart, do you have something to say? Emma's words came slowly, requiring immense concentration. Everyone leaned in to listen. Ms. Mitchell, Emma began, you made me feel like nothing. Like I shouldn't exist. You made me cry every night. You made me afraid in my own home. She paused. But you didn't break me. You made me stronger. You showed me some people have hate in their hearts. But you also showed me I'm worth fighting for. Tears streamed down her face. I'm not nothing. I'm Emma. I love sunflowers. I love writing letters. I love learning. I love my dad. And I'm not sorry for being alive. I forgive you, Emma said, looking at Karen. Not because you deserve it. But because I deserve peace. And holding hate would hurt me, not you. Several people were openly crying. Karen buried her face in her hands. The judge cleared his throat. Ms. Mitchell, in 32 years on the bench, I have never heard anyone suggest the death penalty for a disabled child. I am horrified and disgusted. I'm dismissing this case with prejudice. Furthermore, I'm referring this to the district attorney for possible criminal charges. Discrimination and harassment are serious crimes. I'm also recommending investigation into the HOA's finances. Your Honor, please, Karen's voice broke. I didn't mean. But you said it, the judge interrupted. On the record. That reveals something deeply troubling about your character. I pulled out another document. Your Honor, I'm announcing new legislation. The Emma Harrison Community Inclusion Act. It will require all HOAs to undergo annual disability rights training. It will establish a task force to investigate discrimination complaints. It will provide funding for accessibility improvements. And it will create serious penalties for discriminatory HOA board members. The judge smiled. Chief Minister, I'll sign an endorsement personally. I turned to Karen. You wanted to remove my daughter from your community. Instead, you've inspired legislation protecting thousands of people like Emma. You've given me a platform to speak about discrimination. You've shown the world what happens when prejudice guides actions. I'm sorry, Karen whispered. Tell that to every family you've hurt, I said coldly. Tell that to the children who cried because of you. Your apology means nothing to me. The judge struck his gavel. Court is adjourned. Ms. Mitchell, you'll hear from the DA's office. As we prepared to leave, neighbors approached us. These were people who had stayed silent during Karen's campaign. I'm so sorry, said Mrs. Patterson. I should have spoken up. I was afraid of Karen. But that's no excuse. Mr. Chen came forward with tears. My father wanted you to know he's been praying for you both. Emma reminds him of his granddaughter. One by one, neighbors came forward. Apologizing, offering support, telling Emma she mattered. A young mother approached with her son, the boy who had called Emma a freak. I taught my son wrong. Jake wants to say something. The boy looked at Emma with tears. I'm sorry I was mean. My mom explained you're just different, not wrong. Different is okay. Can we be friends? Emma's face lit up. She nodded, signing yes repeatedly. Outside, news media waited. Cameras, reporters, microphones everywhere. I rolled Emma forward. Chief Minister Harrison, a reporter called, what happened in there? My daughter was called a creature, I said clearly. She was told she doesn't belong. Someone suggested she deserves the death penalty because she has cerebral palsy. What also happened is my daughter showed more courage and grace than most adults. She stood up for herself. She spoke her truth. She chose forgiveness over hatred. I looked at Emma. My daughter is not a burden. She's not a problem. She's Emma. She's smart, kind, funny, and brave. If the world can't see that, the world needs to change, not her. What about the Emma Harrison Community Inclusion Act? It will be introduced next week. No child should go through what my daughter experienced. This legislation will ensure communities are inclusive and welcoming to all people, regardless of disabilities. A young reporter approached Emma. Emma, if you could say anything to other kids facing discrimination, what would it be? Emma typed on her device, "You are not alone. You are not wrong. You are exactly who you're supposed to be. Somewhere, people will love you for who you are. Don't give up. Keep being you." There wasn't a dry eye in the crowd. The next weeks were overwhelming. The story went viral. Emma's courage resonated with millions. We received thousands of letters. Parents of disabled children thanking us. People with disabilities sharing their stories. People who admitted they'd held prejudices they were now confronting. One letter stood out. From Sophia, age 12, with Down syndrome. Her mother had written most of it, but Sophia added her own message, "Dear Emma, you are my hero. I want to be brave like you. Thank you for showing me I matter." Emma cried when she read it. "Dad, I matter to someone. I made a difference. You've made a difference to millions, sweetheart." The Emma Harrison Community Inclusion Act passed with unanimous support. 32 states asked about implementing similar legislation. 3 months after the trial, we were planting sunflowers in our front yard. We'd covered the entire lawn with them. A car pulled up. Karen Mitchell stepped out. I stood, protective. "Ms. Mitchell, there's a restraining order." "I know," she said quietly. "I'm not staying. I just needed to say something to Emma." Emma looked at me. I nodded, staying close. Karen approached slowly. She looked different. Thinner, older, humbled. "Emma," she began, her voice shaking, "I don't expect forgiveness. But I needed you to know what I said haunts me every single day." She pulled out a paper. "I've been in therapy. I had to write down every person I hurt. There were so many." Tears ran down her face. I thought I was protecting something. But I was really spreading hate. Hate from my own fears and prejudices. "I lost everything," Karen continued. "My house, my position, my friends. I'm living in a small apartment, working retail. And I deserve it. I deserve every bit. But you didn't deserve what I did. You were just a girl who wanted to plant flowers. A girl who'd lost her mother. And I tried to destroy that." She held out the paper. "This is a letter. An apology and a promise. A promise that I'll spend my life trying to undo the damage I caused." Emma took the letter. "I don't expect forgiveness," Karen said again. "I just needed you to know you changed me. Your courage, your grace in court, it broke something inside me. Something that needed to break." She turned to leave, then stopped. "Your sunflowers are beautiful. Your mother would be proud." Then she left. Emma read the letter. "Dad, she's really changed." "Maybe," I said cautiously. "No," Emma signed. "I can tell. She's broken but trying to fix herself." "Does that change what she did?" Emma thought. "No. But it means maybe something good came from something bad. Maybe she'll help other people." "Do you forgive her?" "I forgave her in court. For me, not for her. But now I hope she heals. I hope she becomes better. Because then maybe all this meant something." 6 months later, the sunflowers were in full bloom. Our yard looked like a field of sunshine. People drove by to see it, to take pictures. Emma had started a blog about living with cerebral palsy, facing discrimination, finding strength. It had thousands of followers. She'd been invited to speak at schools, conferences, even the state capitol. One evening, among the sunflowers, Emma turned to me. "Dad, do you think Mom can see all this?" I squeezed her hand. "If there's any way, she's watching. And she's incredibly proud. I wish she was here." "Me too, baby girl. Every single day." We sat in silence, surrounded by golden flowers. "Dad. Thank you for being my hero. For fighting for me. For showing me I matter." "Emma," I said, pulling her close, "you're my hero. Every day you face a world not built for you, and you do it with grace and courage. You taught me how to be brave. You taught me love is stronger than hate, always." She rested her head on my shoulder. "I love you, Dad. I love you too, sweetheart. More than all the sunflowers in the world." As the sun set, I realized something. Karen Mitchell had tried to destroy us. She'd tried to break Emma's spirit, drive us away, make Emma feel less than human. But she'd failed. She'd accomplished the opposite. She'd given Emma a platform, a voice, a purpose. She'd inspired legislation protecting thousands. She'd forced a conversation the whole state was now having. Evil often tries to destroy good. But when good stands firm, when it refuses to be broken, evil just makes good stronger. My daughter was stronger. Our community was stronger. Thousands of people were better protected because Emma had the courage to say, "I matter." The sunflowers swayed in the breeze, their faces turned toward the fading light. Just like them, Emma had turned toward hope, toward growth, toward the light. And she bloomed. Emma is 19 now. She attends university online, majoring in social justice and disability advocacy. She gives speeches at conferences worldwide, her message clear: everyone deserves dignity, respect, and inclusion. The Emma Harrison Community Inclusion Act has been adopted by 42 states. Thousands of families have thanked us, sharing how the legislation protected them. Karen Mitchell completed community service at a disability resource center. She still volunteers there, speaking at HOA meetings about the dangers of discrimination. She'll never undo what she did, but she's trying to prevent others from following her path. Emma and I still live in Willowbrook Heights. The community is different now. More welcoming, more diverse, more inclusive. The garden where Emma wanted to plant sunflowers is now called Sarah's Garden. It's an accessible space where anyone can come to plant, rest, heal. Every spring, we plant sunflowers together. They grow tall and bright, following the sun across the sky. They remind us that even in the darkest times, there is light. Even when people try to bury you, you can grow. Emma looks at me sometimes and signs, "We did it, Dad. We changed things." And I sign back, "No, sweetheart. You did it. You changed everything." Last week, Emma received an award from the National Disability Rights Organization. When she accepted it, the entire auditorium stood and applauded for 5 minutes. I watched from the front row, tears streaming, remembering when Karen called her a creature. Look at her now. Not a creature. Not a burden. Not a problem. A hero. A changemaker. A light in the darkness. During her speech, Emma spoke about forgiveness. The person who hurt me most taught me the most important lesson. She taught me hate is loud, but love is stronger. She taught me cruelty is easy, but courage is worth it. She taught me some people will never see your value, but that doesn't mean you have no value. The audience was silent. I forgave her, Emma continued, not because she deserved it, but because I deserved peace. I forgave her because holding hate would have made me like her. And I never want to be like her. I want to be better. I want to help people, not hurt them. She paused. To anyone who has been told they don't belong, that they're too different, that they're a burden, you're wrong. They're wrong. You belong. You matter. You are enough exactly as you are. Don't let anyone's hate become your truth. The applause was deafening. After the ceremony, a young boy approached Emma. Maybe 7 years old, using crutches, his legs in braces. "Are you Emma?" he asked shyly. "Yes," Emma signed. "I read your book. My teacher read it to our class." The kids who used to be mean stopped. They said if Emma can be brave, they can be kind. Emma took his hand. "What's your name?" "Daniel." "Daniel, you are so brave. Keep being you. The world needs you exactly as you are." His mother knelt beside Emma. "Thank you for giving my son hope. Thank you for making the world safer for him." That night, back at Sarah's garden, Emma and I sat among the sunflowers. The moon was full, bathing everything in silver light. "Mom would be so proud of you," I said softly. Emma nodded. "I think about her every day. How she fought so hard to live. She taught me that fighting for what you love is always worth it. She did. She fought for every extra moment with us." "Dad, do you think things would have been different if Karen had known who you were?" I considered this. Probably. She would have been nice to our faces and hateful behind our backs. But we wouldn't have known the truth. We couldn't have fixed it. I'm glad she didn't know. Because now everyone knows disabled people deserve respect not because of who their parents are, but because they're human beings. That's more important. My brilliant daughter. We sat in comfortable silence, listening to night sounds. Crickets chirping, wind rustling through sunflowers. "Dad?" "Yes, sweetheart. I'm happy. Despite everything, I'm happy. Is that okay?" I pulled her close. "It's everything. Happiness after pain, joy after sorrow, hope after despair, that's the greatest victory. Karen tried to break me. She did. But she made me stronger instead. She did. And now thousands of people are protected because of what happened. They are." Emma smiled. "Then I guess even the worst things can lead to good things. Sometimes. When brave people refuse to stay silent. When strong people stand up. When amazing young women like you decide hate won't win." She laughed. "You're biased, Dad." "Absolutely. But I'm also right." We stayed in the garden until late, talking about everything and nothing. Her classes, her blog, her dreams. She wanted to go to law school, become a disability rights attorney. "You know what the best part is?" she asked. "What's that?" "I'm not scared anymore. For years, I was scared. Scared of what people would say, think, do. But now I know even if they're awful, I can survive it. I can fight back. I can win." "You're not just a survivor, Emma. You're a warrior." "We're warriors," she corrected. "We fought together. We did. And we'll keep fighting. For as long as it takes." Emma was accepted to law school, one of the top programs. The school redesigned facilities to be more accessible, installed new technology, and created a scholarship in her name. On her first day, she called me, shaking with excitement. "Dad, I'm here. I'm really here. I'm going to be a lawyer. You're going to be an amazing lawyer. You're going to change even more lives. I love you, Dad. Thank you for never giving up on me. Emma, I didn't do anything special. I just loved you the way every parent should. Unconditionally. Completely. That's everything, Dad. That's everything." As I hung up, I thought about that courthouse day. The day Karen said my daughter deserved death. The day everything changed. Emma had never let anyone else define her possibilities. Not Karen, not the world. She defined herself. And in doing so, she redefined what was possible for thousands of others. I drove to Sarah's garden that evening. The sunflowers were tall and proud. I sat on the bench with the plaque, in memory of Sarah Harrison, who taught us that love grows. We did it, Sarah, I said softly. Our girl is going to be a lawyer. She's going to help so many people. She's going to make the world better. The wind rustled through the flowers. I liked to think it was Sarah, telling me she knew, she was proud. My phone buzzed. A text from Emma, planting sunflowers in my dorm window box. Mom would approve. I smiled through tears. She would, baby girl. She absolutely would. Somewhere, in a small apartment, Karen Mitchell read about Emma's law school acceptance. She sat on her worn couch and cried. Not tears of self-pity, but genuine remorse and unexpected pride. She had tried to destroy this girl. This beautiful, brave, brilliant girl. And instead, she had given her a platform to soar. Karen pulled out her journal. She wrote, "Today I read Emma Harrison is going to law school. The girl I tried to destroy is going to become a lawyer who protects people like her. I am ashamed of who I was. But I am grateful she rose above my hate. She's proof that goodness is stronger than evil. I will spend my life trying to be worthy of her forgiveness, though I know I never will be." She closed the journal and looked at the small sunflower plant on her windowsill. She'd bought it after the trial, a reminder of what her hate cost, but also a symbol of hope. Hope that people could change. Hope that redemption was possible. The sunflower was blooming now, bright and yellow and full of life. Just like Emma. Justice had been served. Not just in the courtroom, not just in laws, but in the simple fact that hate had tried to win and love triumphed. Emma was alive. Thriving. Proof that disability is not inability, that different is not less, that every life has value. Karen had demanded death for my daughter. Instead, Emma brought life. Hope. Change. Light. And that, in the end, was the greatest victory of all.